I slapped my girlfriend out of reflex when I woke up to her doing things to me. Let me just start by saying that I would never slap her intentionally, let alone hurt her in any way. My girlfriend has a very high intimacy drive unlike me, and therefore she is the one to initiate intimacy most of the time. It took me a few years to fully trust her, but she was such a loving and caring person who understood my trauma and was always able to control herself even with her high intimacy drive. When I was a child, I was intimately abused by my own egg donor. I remember how she covered my mouth with her hand while holding me down, and I tried to scream and defend myself. But I was just a little boy and she was a grown woman. I wouldn't call her mother because that's not what mothers do. This traumatized me and it destroyed every relationship I tried to build with a woman. It was hard for me to trust one until my girlfriend appeared. And she always respected my consent so far. Yesterday evening she wanted to have intercourse and I told her I wasn't in the mood right now, and then I turned around. I woke up in the middle of the night to my blanket gone and her doing oral intercourse. My heart started beating really fast. All the anxiety I felt as a child came back, and before I realized, I slapped her so hard she fell off my side of the bed. I immediately realized what I just did. The only thing I thought about was that I slapped her. She held her cheek while looking at me with a shocked face before starting to cry. I wanted to comfort her and apologize, but she ran out of the room into the bathroom where she cried her eyes out, and then she went to sleep on the couch. I apologized repeatedly, but she refuses to talk to me. I feel so bad. I know I am a horrible person and there is no excuse for this. But what can I do so that she speaks to me again? Is there anything I can do so she forgives me? Update: I slapped my girlfriend out of reflex when I woke up to her doing things to me. I expected nothing but people telling me how horrible I was, and I felt that this would be the only comment I deserved. But after reading literally thousands of comments, I slowly began to realize what actually happened there. You have to understand that this moment shocked me to the core, and this shock still was there when I uploaded the original post. I saw myself as an absolutely disgusting woman beater because of it. I never wanted to hurt anyone, but I realized now that it was a trauma response. When I woke up to her going down on me, it felt like my whole body was controlled by someone else. Like I was controlled by strings that forced me to react like that. And the more comments I read, the more I was sure about that. One day after the post, after thousands of comments from Reddit but also from TikTok and many DMs, I talked to her about it and I broke up with her. Because all of this made me realize that my perspective of loving and caring was pretty screwed up. I realized that she showed me the bare minimum of compassion someone should have in a relationship, and I noticed many toxic patterns I haven't realized before. She refused to apologize to me and demanded an apology from me. Besides my now ex-girlfriend, I only had one friend. I don't have an actual mother or a father. I don't have grandparents or siblings. Just this one friend. So I really lack healthy bonds in my life. Breaking up with her was a hard thing to do, but it was necessary. She currently stays with her mom, who also called me yesterday to ask why I broke up with her. And I saw no reason to lie and just told her everything. She was quiet on the phone for a while and then just told me her daughter's ex-boyfriend broke up with her for a similar reason. She said it wasn't the same situation but a similar one, and then she apologized. She didn't go into details, but if I'm interpreting it correctly, my ex seems to have a thing for traumatized men. But again, there is no evidence to support that claim. That's just how I would interpret this conversation with her mom. So what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to therapy and probably won't enter a new relationship anytime soon. I focus on myself and I have to heal. No, I won't press charges because that would mean that I would have to deal with it in a negative way and put energy into it that I just don't have. I hope you can understand that. Her mom is probably going to punish her anyway. And losing the respect of a person you love dearly, I can imagine that's worse than what she would get as a punishment from the court. My wife abandoned our infant daughters because she thought there was about to be a home invasion. She's refusing to acknowledge her mistake. Since that incident, we have had numerous more issues. We have had more days with screaming matches than here is a list of issues since. She woke up early on Saturday, but didn't wake me or my son up for his early practice. She didn't do anything to help us get ready. Her only question when we came back was how late we were. The moment I came home, she went back to bed. I had all 4 kids by myself, which is fine. I took the kids to the store to run errands. As soon as I came back in, she got in the shower and left, and refused to take any kids despite their cries. She refused to tell us where she was going. Sunday, she refused to go to anyone's hockey practice because she had to clean the house. While I'm going to park at the rink, with my kids crying, she calls me because she had hired a person to clean out our garage, and wanted to know where we were going to move things. This was the first time I had heard of this. We had a thermonuclear fight on Monday. My eldest, who is medically obese, was screaming at me to get a second helping of dinner ready. I tried bluffing to send him to bed without the second helping. He goes straight to her, and she overrules me. Once they left the room, I explained what I was doing, and she spiked her laptop on the bed, jumped up and started screaming at me. Proceeds to follow me out of the room and is screaming in front of all 4 kids that I am a whiny bitch and not a real man and that I am trying to starve her kids. Funnily enough, this was just before our marriage counseling session. I kept it, and while I was in the waiting room she continued screaming at me and attacking my character. When the session started, she refused to join. She was puttering around and started blending something. I tried to be as objective as possible, and the counselor said that she was impressed with that. In the last 5 minutes I tried to just bring my laptop to her. When I did, she collapsed into the room she was in like Superman seeing kryptonite. She refused to do it. After that, I went to bed, and she woke me up and wanted me to set up our printer. The lack of anger caught me off guard, and so I did it. She stood over my shoulder the whole time, silently, and refused to let me see anything. We had a couple of other fights along the same lane. But yesterday, Thanksgiving, we had a decent day. Not that it was overly affectionate. We just didn't fight. She slept in until 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and was snippy because I didn't have everyone ready yet. She wanted the girls in the car seats. She then began a 90-minute shower and makeup routine, and helped with the kids for maybe 20 minutes. We ended up an hour late for Thanksgiving dinner. But for us, that was a good day. Yeah, there was no affection or anything, and we didn't speak in the car, but yeah, my mind forgot all the issues we had been having, and I wanted to make it work. That night, I woke up and attended to one of the girls who was very sick. That is the one thing that she has done exclusively, is attend to the kids when they wake up. She has taken kids from me when I do get up before her. One fight we had in September, she screamed at me as being selfish for taking my daughter and sitting with her. I had said that I didn't mind and that I was up anyway. And that became somehow me keeping her up because I couldn't sleep. The problem is that this has become a trump card in every argument. But, anyway, I was with my daughter from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and she slept in. This morning, I woke up at 9 o'clock, the latest I have slept in that I can remember. I started making the kids breakfast and finishing the laundry. She was working on her laptop already. She snapped that I shouldn't bother cleaning the house because she has hired someone. I tried very hard, and refused to escalate, but told her that we can't really afford a cleaning lady, and that I've got it. She proceeded to call me a little bitch and scream at me in my face in front of my kids. One of my boys ran and hid, and the other sat and read on the couch, but he was not happy. She blamed me for not having time to clean and not having money, and that I couldn't clean or do laundry to her standards, and that she wasn't a cleaner. It was about an hour of just constant abuse. So I spent today cleaning the house, doing laundry and taking care of all 4 kids. My sons did more cleaning than she has for a month. What has really disturbed me is not the abuse towards me. I have normalized that and I am used to it. And honestly, if she kept it behind closed doors, I was prepared to wait out the next 17 years and leave once my kids were out of the house. But my eldest son is clearly mirroring her behaviors and internalizing the stress. It doesn't help that she constantly wants me to ask him who is his favorite, who yells more, and who is the better parent. When I refuse to do that, I am scared of what he might say.
What's the worst thing you ever did as a desperate teenager? Me and my girlfriend went so hard we dismantled her entire bed. We would be having intercourse at her mom and stepdad's house. I spent the night there. They let me sleep in the bed with her but told us no fooling around with each other. I was 18 or 19 at the time, she was 16. She lived with me at my mother's and father's house. Anyways, she had one of those beds that was metal and had those metal rods that needed screws at the top and bottom. Bed was loud and squeaky as hell. Anyways, we started doing the deed. Her stepdad was at work but her mother was home sleeping. We were almost done and the bed fell apart. The bed was made out of aluminum and she had hardwood floors. So needless to say, when the bed fell apart you heard about 20 or 30 bars falling on the floor. Her mom woke up and came into the room. I'm there on bottom at full mast while my wife is on top undressed in the process of getting off me. Her mom laughed and said, "Yup, we loosened up the screws and bolts."
My lying wife left me for another man, and after he got her pregnant, he left her. 9 months later, she showed up at my door. So my wife and I were married for 6 years and together for 9 when she left me. We were high school sweethearts, and I thought we had an amazing relationship. We were one of those couples that everyone was jealous of. I was head over heels for her, and I thought she was for me too. We had always talked about having a family, and for the first 3 years of our marriage, we were actively trying. However, we found out that I was infertile, and we were devastated. It sent my wife into a depression, and for a while, I thought our marriage was going to fail. It was a really rough time for us. However, we eventually came to the decision that we would try to save up for in vitro fertilization, and that if that didn't work, we would look into other options. So we spent the next 2 years saving up every penny we could. It was hard, but we both really wanted children. I thought we were doing really well, and I thought that our marriage was stronger than ever. We finally had enough money to undergo the procedure, and we were just about to make an appointment when my wife told me that she was having second thoughts. She said that she was worried that she would not be able to love a non-biological child as much as a biological one. I told her that I understood her concerns, but that I thought we should try anyway. She said she needed time to think about it. A few weeks later, she told me that she had made up her mind, and that she did not want to go through with IVF. I was very disappointed, but I told her that I loved her and that I would support her in whatever she wanted to do. I told her that we could look into other options. However, she said that she had actually made up her mind about something else. She said that she had been seeing someone else for a few months and that she was in love with him. She said that she was moving in with him. I was completely blindsided. There had been no signs of this at all. I was completely devastated. I begged her to reconsider, but she said that her mind was made up. She left, and that was the last time I ever saw her. I was a complete wreck for a long time. I had no idea that anything was wrong in our marriage, and I had no idea that she was seeing someone else. I was in a very dark place for a long time, and I thought about ending things. However, I eventually sought therapy, and with the help of a therapist, I was able to work through my feelings and get to a better place. I was able to move on, and I eventually started dating again. However, I still thought about my ex-wife from time to time, and I always wondered what had happened to her. I had no way of contacting her, as she had changed her phone number and all of her social media accounts. So I was completely shocked when, 3 years after she left me, she showed up at my door. At first, I thought she was there to apologize for what she had done to me, but then I saw that she was holding a baby. She said that she needed to talk to me. She had a baby from him and he dumped her after she gave birth. She is begging me to take her back and I don't know what to do. Husband's perspective, I found a note from the man who my wife cheated on me with. I'm now divorcing her. I'm heartbroken because of what I just found, but at the same time very grateful for the clever and honorable man she decided to cheat on me with. I came back from a business trip a couple days ago and at first everything was great, except for one thing that was a little suspicious. My wife was doting on me like crazy, she was going out of her way to cook every meal for me and was overall treating me very well. I found this a bit suspicious, but wasn't going to complain, as she told me she just really missed me. I would later figure out this wasn't the case. Like I said, my wife was treating me very well, our intimacy life included, which is what ultimately led me to find the note. We were having intimacy one night and she was putting high effort into it, which I again found suspicious as she didn't usually do the things she was doing, even after times we had been separated for longer. After we were done, I went into the bathroom right next to our bed, that only she usually uses, to take a leak. And like I said, what I found truly left me heartbroken. As I lifted the seat to pee, I saw a sticky note with writing on it underneath the seat. I thought this was strange and peeled it off to read it. As I did, I began to tear up, as it was from a man explaining that my wife had just cheated on me with him, and how he was very sorry. I couldn't believe what I had just found, my body was shaking as the realization sunk in. It came together as to why she had been treating me so well, she felt guilty about what she had done. I confronted her about it, of course, she initially denied it, but when I told her the guy left a note under her toilet seat explaining what happened, she just became quiet. I really thought this was going to be the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with. It hurt so much. Tears were running down my face as I packed up all my stuff and told her, I'm divorcing her. She began to cry and beg for forgiveness, wanting me to give her another chance, but as I saw it, what she did was unforgivable. I recently moved out and have gotten over the initial shock. I wanted to post this to see if this reaches the guy who wrote it. If it does, I really appreciate it, brother, you did the right thing. Edit, for those of you telling me the guy also made a post about the situation, I saw it, and we've DM'd each other. Twin brother had an affair with my girlfriend and outed me as bisexual, so I let him die. My twin brother Sebastian and I have never been close. In fact, he is the person I hate most. He made my childhood a living hell. My parents didn't help by playing favorites. He would always put down, belittle, and bully me with his friends at school. He would break my stuff, then blame me for it. Growing up, the only people I knew I could rely on were my older sister Jane, my cousin Kai and best friend Isaac, who all knew what an awful person my brother was. Cut to many years later. I was 17. I had just gotten my first girlfriend, she was someone I loved very much. We didn't have fun time because she wanted to wait until her 18th birthday to lose her innocence. Well, it turned out she was lying about lots of things, and one of those things was being loyal. She had been having an affair with my brother behind my back for 5 months. I was crushed, she knew how much I hated my brother and she saw some of the awful things he did to me, but she still cheated on me. Being unfaithful was bad enough, but with him? Things were going to get wicked. I punched Sebastian in the face so hard he lost his left front tooth and broke his nose. According to my parents, I was the one in the wrong here. Rather than be mad at my brother, I was expected to support him and my ex-girlfriend who was now carrying his baby. My brother said he had no intention of being a father, and told my girlfriend to get an abortion. She refused, and skipped town, not wanting anything to do with my brother. A year went by like a flash, but my feelings for my brother never changed. I still hated his guts. At this point, I was done playing nice with him. I cut contact and didn't speak with him for a while. Around that time, I had gotten back into dating, and had met this wonderful man. He was great, and his name was Daniel. He was deaf, and previously I had happened to learn sign language out of boredom. We started talking and things just seemed to click. We dated, fell in love, and I brought him to Isaac's place since he was the only other person that knew I was bi at the time. They got along great and everything seemed to be looking up. One day, while walking into a cinema holding my boyfriend's hand, I bumped into Sebastian. He asked what I was doing there, and when I told him I was on a date, he laughed. In the middle of the theater, and made some homophobic comments. I told him to go screw himself and we went to go see our movie. When I got home after dropping Daniel off at home, I knew I'd be facing something as soon as I walked in the front door. I saw both my parents on the sofa, my mother crying about how on earth could she have given birth to someone so disgusting. I guess it was too much to hope she was talking about Sebastian, but nope. She was talking about me, saying I had left a stain on their family name. My father got up to yell at me, and spouted homophobic remarks and slurs at me. It was at this point that I saw my brother sitting on the staircase with a crap-eating grin. He then came down and said he wasn't comfortable sharing a room with a homosexual.